Well, let's continue after that little malfunction. This is Cloud Ace MC, currently live streaming to YouTube. I am a recipient of the Ontario Disability Support Program. The minister and the ministry have failed to do their job and keep the program up to date. 500 and whatever, 553, whatever they give for rent is insufficient in the market now. Rooms in other people's homes, which gives you no support under the landlord tenant board, are going for 750. Bachelors and one bedrooms don't exist. They're white unicorns. And two bedrooms are going from 1450 for a hellhole to about $2,000 for a nice place. And that's not even regarding the cost of living, food, groceries, clothing, toiletries, So I'm informing you and the people of YouTube for all of eternity about how bad the ministry is about updating the program. So I'm left between choices of wiping my ass or eating or buying new clothes and not doing either of those other two things. And it's not sustainable anymore. It's gone. The carbon tax and everything, the sustainability of this is gone. It is unsustainable. I was borrowing upwards of $10,000 a year off my sister, not even being able to pay it back. That might be a little high of a number, but include the interest on what should have been loans as gifts, considering, all in all, she's not supposed to be supporting me. The Ontario government is. It's not my fault that your school system and Wayne Moore of Cobalt Public School dropped the ball and faked all my grades. Grade 3, I failed. I was going to fail it a second time. They faked my grade to pull them up to 55, and they did that continuously all the way up to grade 8. I told the education minister this. Nothing ever happened. I told him that I wanted to launch some sort of legal investigation. So what happened? Nothing ever happened. You guys have been dogging me my whole life. That's why I'm calling this listed on PPs and making this video on YouTube. I'm sick and tired of being treated like a piece of crap. I'm sick and tired of being treated like I don't matter. I'm sick and tired of MPs and MPPs and government just ignoring me because they have secretaries who can take my complaint and throw it in the trash. So these complaints are live to YouTube this time. So I guess we just move on to the next phone number. Let's give this list a break. Just take me back over to the minister. This is what it's like being on disability, actually trying to change things. Near impossible. Cloud Ace MC, YouTuber, live streaming right now. Still trying to get a hold of the minister to ask him why he can't do his job of making sure that the Ontario Disability Support Program has been brought up into the 22nd century or wherever the heck we are, 2024. Why that it's still running like it's 1994. The grocery store isn't cheap. I can't afford anything to eat. Can't afford to buy new clothes. Can't afford to get used clothes. Can't afford to travel. Can't mentally and physically afford to walk. Covering only medical appointments and not essential things like traveling to the grocery store to get food, and forcing people into Instacart situations where they're paying extreme premiums is absolutely ridiculous and uncalled for. The program must be brought to the 24th or 2024. It's got to be updated. It's like I can't live back in 1994. I can't sit here, close my eyes, pretend it's 1994, and go buy groceries. It doesn't work. I can't feed myself. You can only eat wieners and beans for so long before you can't eat wieners and beans, before it's actually doing medical damage. Uh, I can't remember the last time I was actually able to afford a steak. I can barely afford hamburger now. So there goes everything hamburger based that used to be, saving my hide. Uh, I don't know how to make a budget off of like $70. I don't. You guys physically destroyed me. 10 years of this, and I'm losing it. I'm losing it. We got to do something. The minister's got to do something. Somebody's got to do something. Pick up the ball. There has to be some sort of emergency thing that can be applied to disability immediately to make sure that we can both rent, eat, and clothe ourselves properly. This sweater is 7 years old. I love it, but it's old. So is everything I got. My sister paid for my fridge when I needed it. My sister paid for my couch when I needed it. My sister pays every single time when you guys drop the freaking ball. We're either paying too much for rent or too little for our own life. We struggle on a daily basis, and I'm sure there's so many people out there who would love to be able to do what I'm doing right now and just stick it to you and make sure that it's all on video and everyone knows it's happening. So thanks a lot, Minister Michelle Persay, or whatever your name is, for being just as useless as David A. Ball was, just as useless as the rest of your predecessors. All we ever get is a slap in the face. Here's a 1% increase in a market that's increased multiple percents. Food went up by 17%. Here's a 1% increase. Like, not a real lot of ways to end my misery here, guys. You got to pick up the ball and do something.
If you are satisfied with your message, press 1. To listen to your message sent. Thank you for calling. Goodbye.
I would like to talk to a real human about these matters. Whose job is it when a ministry is not doing their job in Ontario? The ministry offers a wide range of public services, blah, 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 blah. Understand rights and obligations include da 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 da. If you feel that the ministry is not fulfilling its responsibility, you can file a complaint with the Ministry of Labor, Immigration, Training, Skills and Development. The ministry is responsible for the enforcement of the Employment Standards Act. I don't think that's what I fall under. What part of the government is responsible for the Ministry of Community and Social Services? Under the Canadian Constitution, the responsibility for the social welfare services rests with the provincial and territorial governments. The services are operated by Parliament under legislation. Each province and territory has established its own comparative services. Lodge a formal complaint against the Ministry of Community and Social Service. Ombudsman.
Austin, Ontario, please hold. Thank you. Operator, we accept current call. Successfully credited.
Hello?
Hello, you have reached the office of the Ombudsman of Ontario. Bonjour, vous avez joint le bureau de l'Ombudsman de l'Ontario. Le message en français suivant. Due to COVID-19 precautions, we cannot receive visitors, but our staff are available by phone and online during office hours. Complaints can be filed anytime via our website, ombudsman.on.ca. If you know the extension of the person you wish to reach, please dial it now. To speak to our staff about making a complaint, press 1. For all other inquiries, for English, press 1. For please note calls may be recorded for quality assurance, training purposes,
Yes.
and record accuracy.
Perfect.
Please wait for the next available agent.
Feel like a little hoodlum. ruin the music.
Please wait for the next available agent.
Okay, that got boring real quick. I don't condone this next action. Smoking is bad. Oh, I shouldn't smoke on YouTube. That would send a bad image.
Please wait for the next available agent.
Wow, these agents must be super busy. Hello, this is Cloudace MC, a YouTuber. You're on a live stream right now. I'm calling with a complaint about the Ontario Disability Support Program and its minister's failure to do its job to support the people of Ontario that are disabled to the point where they can sufficiently eat a diet that will keep them alive.
Okay, can I get your first and last name, please? Yeah.
My real first and last name? Jesse Heikala.
Okay, could you spell that for me?
Jesse Heikila.
Can I get your phone number just in case our connection disconnects?
As I said, I'm broadcasting live to YouTube, so that wouldn't be a good idea just to hand out my phone number to the public. I have been calling the Minister's Office for the Ontario Disability Support Program for the last 10 years, since the Minister was David A. Ball, trying to get the program updated to the current level of financial need of the Ontario public, me, disabled people. $1,273 is not enough. I have been adamant about the program needing to be somewhere around the $2,000 range for at least the last 3 years. Everyone I call doesn't care. Every message I leave at the minister's office gets thrown in the trash. I don't even know if the minister is a real person, since I've never ever talked to him, seen him, just pictures. So I don't know if he's even a real person at this point. And I'm at my wit's end. So today I've called Doug Ford's office, the Minister of Community and Social Services, Michelle Perskell, or whatever his name is. I've contacted multiple MPPs on the MPP list, telling them how unhappy of a person I am. And now I'm contacting you guys. Apparently, Google told me that you guys are responsible if they don't do their job. And I'm also a non-writing person. I do not write. So there are no written complaints from me. I do everything verbally, and now with video proof on YouTube of my complaint. You know, I also was discriminated against by them when I became common law with my now ex. And as far as I was told discrimination was illegal, my worker said if I didn't sign over my check and become a dependent, that I'd be kicked off the program, even though when I got on the program, I was promised it was a lifelong disability and I would never have my check taken away. So I have multiple problems with the program, not to mention the violation of the Sudbury office in regards to them. I would call in and they would ask me what my number was. Number, not name, number. The last person I remember that was doing that was a guy called Adolf Hitler. And as far as I know, nobody's supposed to do that sort of thing. I don't have a disability number. I've never been issued a card with a disability number. They should not be asking me for my disability number. That is greatly offensive. I would like the local office reprimanded for it. I would honestly like the local office closed down, since they don't do anything for the clientele anyway. I could tell that I'm starving and that I can't go to a food bank because I have a bone-on-bone hip and can barely walk. But I'm just laughed at, basically, and hung up on, because I get rude and belligerent at that point, because they're telling me they can't do anything when they're the ones that are supposed to be making sure that I can eat. So I'm at wit's end about how the minister is going to do his job when nobody makes him do his job. I'm at wit's end as to why we're still getting a check like it's 1994. Last time I checked, it's not 1994, and I can't find anywhere to rent for $573. Last time I checked, it's not 1994, and I can't go to the grocery store with $73 and feed myself for a month. So why am I being paid like it's 1994? Why are they giving me a 1% increase on a market that has increases of 15 to 20%? And in the rental market, almost what, 300% now? So if I make these complaints to the minister's office for 10 solid years and nobody does anything, and I call Doug Ford's office and nobody does anything there, and I call Justin Trudeau's office and nobody does anything there, I call the Human Rights Tribunal of Ontario and inform them verbally of everything I've informed you of, and they say tough titty because I can't sign a piece of paper? So my rights are being violated by the Ontario Human Rights Charter Office, by disability, by the disability minister, by Doug Ford's office, by everyone who's ever asked me to put a complaint into writing should know what small motor movement skills problems mean. I never learned to write properly, nor cursive, nor do I know how to spell properly. And these people are asking me to put everything into writing when I thought my disability meant that they had to do it for me. You know, but no, they refuse to write down what I say, mail me a copy, and have me sign it. The littlest bit of work to compensate for my disability is just too much to ask for from my local ODSP office, from the minister's office, from Doug Ford's office, all of them. They laugh at me like I'm some sort of joke. I'm being treated like I don't matter, like you can discriminate against me because I became common law with my ex. Just discriminate against him, make him a dependent. He doesn't matter anymore. You know, you call in and you tell them you can't eat, and they have the gall to tell you to go to a food bank. Food banks were not and are not set up for people on disability. They are not here for people on disability. Time and time again, they tell me to go to a food bank. I go to the food bank. They tell me it's not for people on disability. I go back to them and I tell them what the food bank said, and it's tough titty. You get to starve. I'm sick of starving. I am. So whose responsibility is it? Because this is on YouTube forevermore. This has been like 3 hours of my life calling all of these phone numbers just to have people tell me, well, we can't really do anything, sir. So I'm absolutely fed up. I don't know what to do. The Minister of Community and Child and Social Services, Michelle, I can't say his last name. And I have literally been calling the minister's office since David A. Ball was the head of was in the position. I don't know how many years ago that was. I'm going to think somewhere 10 plus. So I've been ignored for 10 plus years here. And I'm sick of all my fighting just to end up in the silly 1% increase they give us, where they act like that's good enough. So I don't know. Is it an incompetence problem throughout the entire Canadian government? Because the province can't handle fixing it. The federal government doesn't seem to care one way or another. They're not here reprimanding the province going, you guys aren't doing your job. Literally, Doug's Ford office could care less whether I get to eat or not. It seems like he's eating 3 or 4 meals a day from his size. You know, it seems like every politician I see looks to be well-fed, well-clothed, have a car, and have a home. But, you know, disability and people on disability aren't even worth a second thought when it comes to even being able to eat healthy. Do you think eating chicken wieners and beans for a month is healthy? Do you think that's good for the psyche of an individual? It's not. It leads to suicidal thoughts. I can tell you that much. I'm not suicidal myself, but I have been in a pseudo-suicidal state where I can fully understand why people commit suicide, but not want to myself. That's something I have coined out of all the hell I've gone through with disability, I had to coin a new term called pseudo-suicide. Being able to fully understand why someone might commit suicide without being suicidal yourself. You know? So the failures of the past 10 years of my life of getting this program kicked into gear has to end. It has to end. I don't care if the ministry has to hold emergency meetings for the next 100 hours to get something in place. But I'm not going to eat no more until my next meal is paid for by the Ontario government. I don't have food. In my cupboards, there is nothing in there. In my fridge, there's nothing in there. I barely have enough clothing to even travel out in winter. Because I can't afford clothes. And since my hip is bone on bone, I can't afford to travel to even buy clothes. Or even, get to the grocery store more than once a month. So I'm at my wit's end. I'm live on YouTube. I'll be making probably many live streams throughout the next few weeks of this exact struggle. So I don't know who to contact or what to contact or where to go to get a fair shake and to get someone to get up off their lazy behind and fix this immediately. Because you know what? I've given you 10 plus years. I've contacted this ombudsman office before too. This isn't my first call. There's probably records of it. But this time, there's a public record online for anyone to see for free. They can watch me struggle for hours calling all these different government officials and seeing exactly how useless they are.
Okay. Do you know when the last time it was when you called the office?
I called them today. I spoke to a secretary who I asked to pass this information on to the minister and who refused and said she'd pass it on to somebody else. So apparently I don't have the availability to directly contact any minister. Apparently their secretaries could tell me to go take a hike and do whatever they want. That as a Canadian citizen, I have no right to call that office and have that information passed along to that minister. I have no right, apparently, according to that office and that secretary. I've got no right for the minister to hear me, which I think is a direct violation of what you guys are all put in office to achieve. If you're a minister, you have a direct responsibility to anybody who is an Ontario citizen, be it on disability or not. If they want to call you and contact you and have you take in their complaint, they should have to do it. That's the job they were paid to do. We didn't pay their secretaries to shield them from this. It's disgusting. The only politician and all the ones I've told you about so far that ever picked up my call was about 2 years before he became Prime Minister of this country, Justin Trudeau. And he promised me that day that he'd make sure that I wouldn't go hungry. And his federal disability program is still 2 years away. I let his wife and children know about, a couple weeks before his breakup, that bastard had promised to fix this. That he had promised. And what it cost me was my relationship and my children. Now I'm back single on disability and can't eat and can't survive because of an unjust program that is antiquated back in 1994 for all sakes. I'm sure my relationship would have went a hell of a lot better had I not been busted down and made a dependent. Had it looked like we were both income earners in that house, like we both had an active bank account and we could both make adult decisions, I bet it would have went great. But since we were always struggling over who was in control of what, all that did was ruin my relationship and separate me from my children. It's not the only thing that is in the mix there, but it was one of the great thorns in my side when, I didn't have a bank account and we were arguing and I couldn't even go take a walk to a store to go get a bag of chips because I wasn't important enough under the Ontario Disability Support Program to be considered human. I was just somebody else's dependent. Just to save a few quick bucks. That's all it is. To save a few quick dollars, let's just ruin people on disabilities relationship or make it 10 times harder for them to be a fully functioning couple. So I don't know what the Ombudsman Office does. I don't know if you guys actually have any real power. But again, I'm Cloud Ace MC, and all of this has been broadcast live on YouTube. No objection? Thank you.
I'm sorry.
I gave you the opportunity to object to that, but
To object to what?
being broadcast live on YouTube.
I want to go ahead and mention that the Office of the Ontario Ombudsman, we are an administrative review body, but we are not a substitute decision maker for public sector bodies. So we don't have the capacity to reverse or change decisions or policies.
Well, this shouldn't be about reversing decisions or changing policies. This should be about people are suffering because the minister is not doing his job in keeping the program up to date. So none of what you just said has any justification. If the Ombudsman Office can't do anything about the disability minister not doing his job and not making sure that his program is concurrent and up to date, then I think it's just another nail in the wall that this is just another useless number put in place to put me through the hamster mill.
Okay, what I can say as an option is to discuss your concerns with your local legal aid service as well.
My local legal aid service is about as useful as trying to wipe your butt with sandpaper.
Okay, so you've tried to attempt to contact your local legal aid service?
What would they do for me? They're just a bunch of know-nothing lawyers that have no intent on trying to take on the Canadian government. I don't need their services. I'm a Canadian citizen. I should be able to call these numbers that I'm calling now with serious concerns and have something done. If I don't, that just proves how useless you are and how obsolete the government truly is. Right? If I keep going through this day after day after day, making no headway, how long before someone watches my video and says, geez, I bet you we could do a better job than the government. Because, I'm waiting for the day that somebody comes along and says, you know what? Fuck it, privatize government. We're going to make our own government. We're going to give people a decision who they pay taxes to and what really happens with the world. Because trust me, I'd love to do it. I'd love to take over everything the government does, do it right, show you up, and make you a laughingstock. Because I could replace all of disability with a quick computer portal and a few staff on the other end. I don't need workers. I can complain to the workers about not eating, nothing happens. I can complain to the workers that I can't clothe myself, nothing happens. I can complain to the workers until I'm blue in the face, nothing happens. What did the workers ever do for me? Nothing. What information can they provide that I can't access online? Nothing. What is their value? Nothing. It's just an industry of people trying to keep their jobs and trying to make it look like they're doing something. Because now, as far as I'm concerned, it looks like the Ombudsman Office is an industry of nothing. You don't do anything. You don't change anything. You can't help anybody. You're just another section of the government, like the Long Gun Registry Office that they had staffed for a year after the Long Gun Registry was scrapped. That's the kind of government we have. We're going to have offices and offices and offices of people that can't really do anything. So that we don't really have to be culpable for what's happening in society. The Disability has been hiding the suicide rate for people on disability? Did you know it's tripled in the last 5 years? Yeah, think about that. Here's one for you. Did you know the Sudbury Regional Hospital here in Sudbury? I was there once with my hip. It was all jammed up, and I was sitting there in the hallway on a bed right by the nurse's station. And this drug addict came in, and the nurse said to the doctor, "Let's just kick him out so he goes and has drugicide, so he's not our problem." That's the kind of Ontario I live in, where doctors are kicking people out so they can go commit suicide on drugs. I live in an Ontario where the disability minister doesn't care if I eat. I live in an Ontario where Doug Ford probably ate more in 6 months than I ate in all of last year. That's the kind of Ontario I live in. The most useless government that I ever had to deal with has always been the Ontario government. At least Justin Trudeau had the balls to pick up my phone call back in the day. Doug Ford? No. Minister of ODSP? Nope. Minister of the Child and Family Social Services? Nope. Minister of Education? Nope. None of these people want to deal with it. The education minister doesn't want to deal with the fact that I got screwed on my education. The disability minister doesn't want to deal with the fact that I can't eat. Ford doesn't want to deal with the fact that I can't get fair treatment in my own province. So, useless after useless after useless. Who do I call to get fed today? Do you have any idea?
Well, have you spoken with the Sudbury ODSP office today?
I am not allowed to call the Sudbury ODSP office because it's gotten so toxic with their staff that I no longer want to deal with them. They're literally staffed by all women, except for one man who is hired as a token when I complain about this office being a gynocracy. You know, I can't get a fair shake from a bunch of women when I'm hungry and accidentally swear, and they go, "Well, I'm hanging up the phone call now." You know, I can't get angry and show that I'm a real human being to those robots. They get offended, they hang up the phone because, you know, I'm sitting here on day number 3 and not eating, and they expect me to be freaking Johnny Cupcake. Well, I'm sorry. I'm more like a dragon covered in spines with fire coming out of my mouth, ready to chomp you. That's the whole gist of it. I can't deal with those people. They're absolutely useless. I've asked them hundreds of times to complain to the minister's office about how hard it is to be on disability. And they say, "We don't want to lose our jobs. Stop bugging us." So what am I supposed to do? I can't call them. The minister's useless. Doug Ford's useless. Everybody's turned out to be useless. Do I give up eating? If you stop eating and you die, is that considered suicide? Am I going to get in trouble for committing suicide? Like, I don't know the law. What's the law on a hunger strike? Because I'm confused.
I wouldn't know the answer in terms of what's the best referral or the best resource to redirect you to right now.
That's because there isn't one, because all of the government of Ontario has failed me. You know, there's no number left to call. Like, literally, every number that I'm supposed to call in an emergency situation like disability falling apart has failed me. The government has failed me. Who do I call when the government fails me? When the entire government of Canada fails me, who the hell do I call then? Like, an entire country of morons can't seem to figure out that I'm hungry? I didn't know this was communist China. Like, do you want me to show up to a government meat facility where you can just put me out of my misery and turn me into hamburger and sell me to some other country or something? Because I'm at my wit's end.
Okay. I'm not quite sure, again, where's the best referral or resource to
Nobody is. Surprise, surprise. Welcome to Canada. You hear that? Every other country that watches this live stream, don't come to Canada. The country's absolute shit. They don't even care about their fucking disabled people. Stay the fuck away from this country. Thank you for being just as useless as everyone else. Ombudsman Office. Ombudsman of Canada. Oh, this looks like a rabbit hole. Contact the Speaker of the House of Commons. Sorry, YouTube. Just gonna have to turn you guys away for a minute. How's everybody doing out there? Hey.
Has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
Try this again, just make sure. I'm calling the wrong number. I don't want that one. I don't know how well you guys can hear the phone, but I hope well. Hope everyone's having a good day.
Bonjour, vous avez joint le bureau de la présidence. Laissez-moi un message et nous donnerons suite à une plus brève délai. Hello, you have reached the speaker's office. Leave us a message and we will call you back as soon as possible. Have a great day. Bonne journée.
Hi, my name is Cloud MC Jesse Hakula from Sudbury, Ontario. I'm contacting you because my government here in Ontario has failed me. Both at the federal and provincial levels of government have failed me, actually. So, one of the people, Minister of the Community and Social Services Program, I've been contacting their office for 10 years trying to get the disability support program budget brought back up in 2024, whatever, brought up to date. It's neglect, grossly neglect on all of their parts for not making sure that this money has been brought up to the point where we can live lives of normalcy. I don't know who to contact, but I just thought I would contact your office and let you know that I currently have a live stream on YouTube right now as I'm leaving this message that everyone in the Ontario government has failed me, from the minister of the program to the Ombudsman of Ontario to Doug Ford's office to every phone call I've ever made in the past 10 years. Nothing has been done to update the program. I don't even know if I'm calling the right person, but I just thought I'd let you know anyway. Having rent and basic needs is a slap in the face. It's basically calling us basic bitches. And we don't deserve a breakdown of food, toiletries, travel, none of that. We don't deserve any distinction. Just tell them they get basic need and tell them to F right off. So don't know if this was the right place to call or person to complain to, but something has to be done about this. I'm losing my goddamn mind over it. Thank you.
Pour envoyer ce message, appuyez sur le touche Sélection. Raccrochez pour le supprimer. Sélection nouvelle. Sélection nouvelle. Réaliser sélection nouvelle.
I don't know what any of that means. Now back to me. Human Rights Tribunal of Ontario. Contact information for the Human Rights Tribunal of Ontario.
You have reached the Human Rights Tribunal of Ontario. The Human Rights Tribunal of Ontario resolves claims of discrimination and harassment brought into the Human Rights Code. The average wait time for an agent can be more than 10 minutes. You can also find resources on our website to answer your questions. Please visit tribunals.ontario.ca/HRTO. We are reminding callers that aggressive behavior, harassment, or coarse language will not be
Oh boy.
tolerated and may result in our staff ending the call.
I'll try to be nice.
Ici le tribunal des droits de la personne de l'Ontario. Le tribunal régule les plaintes pour discrimination et harcèlement déposées en vertu du Code des droits de la personne. Le temps d'attente moyen pour parler à un représentant pourrait dépasser 10 minutes. Vous trouverez dans notre site web les ressources qui pourraient répondre à vos questions. Veuillez visiter tribunal.ca/C-O. Veuillez noter que les comportements agressifs, le harcèlement ou le langage grossier ne sont pas tolérés et pourraient conduire notre personnel à mettre fin à l'appel. For service in English, please stay on the line. Pour obtenir des renseignements en français, appuyez le 2. Ontario is made up of 3 separate agencies. The Human Rights Legal Support Center provides legal assistance to people who may have experienced discrimination. The Human Rights Tribunal of Ontario refers people who have experienced discrimination under the Human Rights Code can file an application, and the Ontario Human Rights Commission educates the public about discrimination. For information about the Human Rights Legal Support Center, press 1. For information about filing an application, press 2. For information about the Human Rights A person who has experienced discrimination under the Human Rights Code can file an application with the HRTF. To know if the discrimination or harassment you have experienced falls under the code, please visit our website at tribunalsontario.ca/HRTF. Please hold while we transfer you to a representative. Your call may be monitored or recorded for quality assurance and training purposes. Our contact service reps are currently assisting other callers. Please stay on the line and someone will
Oh
be
boy.
as soon as possible. The estimated wait time is 1 minute.
Oh, not bad. Seems like all the places that don't want you to get angry are playing jazz. Good on them. Or I think it's jazz. Hi, I'm looking to figure out how someone like me would put in a complaint against the Minister for Disability.
So 2 things. I can direct you to our website where you can find the application form 1.
Dude, I'm barely verbal. I'm a disabled person. Didn't get a proper education. Don't really know how to fill out all your forms. Right?
Yeah, so that's why I was.
I know, but if you can't discriminate against people for their disabilities, you can't ask me to go fill out a form. Part of my disability is I'm not good with any of that.
Again, you asked me how you could perform for the Minister of Disability, so I was just directing you to.
I know,
One way.
but does anybody there have access to that form, and can they fill it out for me?
So you can call our Human Rights Legal Support Center where they can help you with that.
I've tried that before, and they refused.
Sorry?
I said I've tried that before, and they refused.
They refused to fill it out for you.
Mail it to me so I could sign it and mail it back. Correct.
Okay.
And I might add that I am currently streaming to YouTube Live. I am a YouTuber. My name is CloudAceMC, and all of this is being documented.
Yeah, no problem. So far, that's the only two options I can give you, so just give me a second, alright?
Thank you. None of these people ever have to face you face to face. When they take the job, they know that. They know they're just going to have their secretary deal with everything and throw your complaints in the garbage. And even places like this, the human rights tribunals and places that are supposed to be there to protect you, don't give a flying shit. And this is just proof of that. This video, what I'm doing here today, is the proof that I'll go hungry. Rather than get up off their asses and actually do some real work, all these places would rather I go hungry and they don't have to deal with it. I'm sure every country is just as sickening as this when dealing with government officials. Like, I can't imagine anywhere is personable and does everything face to face and deals with things in a short, orderly fashion. That's like the whole antithesis of government. We're just going to do things so slowly, it's going to drive you all insane. And then when you go insane, we're going to say it's your fault. Really can't stand government. Life didn't have to be this way. It didn't have to be hard for me. It doesn't have to be hard for anyone else. The government didn't have to introduce carbon taxes to screw us. They didn't have to take away our freaking happiness. They didn't have to take away our freedom. They didn't have to take away our right to buy a home. None of it. They could have made sure all of this stayed cheap and effective and awesome. They could have made Canada a shining beacon. But no, let's just let it turn into trash. You know, there really wouldn't be a problem if disability offices weren't suppressing how bad the clients are doing. If there was some sort of form that we could fill out and it would get tallied up and shown the like satisfaction right now with disability, shit, the numbers would be shit. Nobody would be satisfied with this crap unless they're insane. Oh, it's hard to stay strong, man. These people beat it out of you pretty early in your life. This is 10 years of this. I don't get a severance package. I don't get paid for it. Nobody cares what I say. Hello.
Well, thank you for your patience. I connected with another supervisor, and I was suggested to tell you that although we can't help you fill out the form, you need to have you look like a little inkling in your eye so that they can help you fill out the form.
Yeah, I know, but that's not your office respecting my disability. That's you asking me to adapt. That's not fair. That's still discrimination.
That's the only
Your
option.
office is refusing service to me because you guys can't figure out how to deal with my disability. Isn't that cut, dry discrimination? You're discriminating me from your services because you can't adapt your services to my disability? Honestly, should your office even be allowed to exist under these circumstances if you can't do as little as make sure that I can make a complaint about the ministry not updating the program, acting like it's 1994 and starving me? So yeah, again, another person that doesn't care whether I live or die. Great. Fuck, Canada must be a great country if people are just doing so god darn well, huh?
I'm sorry for your frustration.
Oh, sorry for my frustration, are you? We're in a country where it's illegal to commit suicide, but where the government wants you to commit suicide. Or at least that's the way I feel with the way I'm being treated. This isn't fair. I'm not suicidal, but I completely understand why people might commit suicide, especially if they had to deal with, half of what I've had to deal with in the last 10 years with regarding services from every single office I call. It's like, oh, we're supposed to respect people on disability, but we're not going to help them fill out a form. Wow. What a great country I live in. Whoa. Like, this is all on YouTube forevermore. This is my stand. So, just another organization that would rather see me starve. Thanks for your duties and your honorable service to this great country, and thank you for making sure that people are treated with the utmost respect. Fuck me. Human Rights Tribunal. Human Rights Tribunal of Canada. Human Rights Tribunal of Canada. Contact the Human Rights Tribunal of Canada.
Welcome to the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal. Please leave us a message with your name, telephone number, and file number, and we will return your call as soon as possible. Thank you. Bienvenue au tribunal canadien des droits de la personne. S'il vous plaît, laissez-nous un message avec votre nom, numéro de téléphone et numéro de dossier, et nous retournerons votre appel dans les plus brefs délais. Merci.
My name is Cloudace MC, YouTuber. Real name Jesse Heikila, Heikkila, calling from Sudbury, Ontario, with complaints about the Ontario Disability Support Program Office, the Office of Doug Ford, the Office of the Community and Social Services Minister, Marcel Presay, or whatever his name is. Complaints about the Ontario Human Rights Tribunal Office. None of these places take my concerns seriously. I can't put in any complaint with the Ontario office because I don't do writing, because I'm disabled, and I would preferably get them to fill out the form for me so they can mail it to me to have me to sign and return. But apparently, being disabled doesn't mean they have to do anything for me. The same with all the other offices. I cannot call my local office because I've been too goofy, because they've done nothing to help me at the provincial level, like call the minister's office with complaints about not being able to survive off the amount of income they give me. And it's led to a ban where I can only contact them in writing. You can see the problem there. And yeah, I'm at my wit's end. I can't make a complaint with the Ontario Human Rights Tribunal about anything because I'm worthless. This message is being live streamed. This is all live stream. I'm live streaming to YouTube right now. I've been live streaming my day long of calling people and trying to make a difference in the world, just to be told we don't do anything here. So again, help. So again, I'm having massive troubles with getting services rendered or talking to ministers to bring the Ontario Disability Support Program into the 21st century. I've been discriminated against by the Ontario Disability Support Program, made it dependent on my now ex-common law wife's file. Was made to feel very small and very worthless. I was told if I didn't sign it, I'd be kicked off disability and wouldn't get my check, even though my check was promised to me when I got on disability that it would never be taken away. It was taken away for a long time with me and my ex in common law, and discriminated against by the Ontario Disability Support Program office several times by several of the workers. I've been asked for a number instead of my name. I've been treated like I think Adolf Hitler treated people. It's not as bad, but I don't want to be called a number, and I'm sure everybody else doesn't want to be called a number. I can't talk to the minister. I can't leave a message for the minister. The minister's secretary is blocking me from sending that to the minister and told me she'd send it to some other office, but not bring it to the minister. Even though it's the minister, I need to write legislation to update the program to the point where it's 2024, not 1994. I can't go to the grocery store and buy enough food to eat for $70 and survive. I want to make a formal complaint verbally at the discretion of my disability. This is all being uploaded live to YouTube. Thank you. I hope your office will contact me back at some further point. I'm out of phone calls for today, guys. Doesn't seem like this shit made any difference again. 10 plus years of doing this kind of thing. Complaining, being vocal. It went from being nice and kissing their ass to being so angry I can't even make a phone call. So now doing it online in the hopes that having some record to make these assholes look as incompetent as they are will finally make a difference. But since 3-4 people have seen this, it's going to be a long time before it makes a difference. Thanks for watching.